And we're going to have special Ukrainian edition with Wally Kulakoff. Wally, I probably butchered that name and that last name again. Ambassador for Mission Eurasia. And it's been a little over a month on the war in Ukraine, and Wally's going to join us and talk about the needs and what's happening there. Good to have you again with us, Wally.
John, thank you for having me, and it's good to discuss Ukraine and the current events taking place.
Yes. Wally gave me a few update videos, too, that were really beautiful. I mean, the videos were beautiful. I don't want to say the scenes depict horror in a lot of ways, and good things, too, but it's about Ukraine. And Wally's the ambassador for Mission Eurasia, and we're going to talk about Mission Eurasia in Ukraine. And I'm going to take down this. Pray for Ukraine. That's our theme here. Wally, I think I'm going to throw first up. Here, we're going to show a picture of a church. I'll take myself down here if I can do this right. Just a second here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll. Where's that? Yeah, there's a church that was bombed. Do you know where this church was, Wally?
Yes. This is not too far from the heart of, not too far from one of the suburbs of Kiev.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this is a church that was bombed. This is a sanctuary, but the kitchen where they were supposed to have a soup kitchen for people to come,
right,
to have one meal a day, direct hit on the kitchen. So the kitchen is not functioning, and so the people cannot come for a meal a day. The meal would include, for people to hear God's word, to hear some singing, and then hear some prayer and get some physical nourishment. The church was bombed, and it's not used today. The windows are shattered. The kitchen is gone. And my good friend, Pastor Michael, is one of the pastors of that church, and it's been bombed.
Wow. And here's, I don't know if this was from that bombing or another time, but here's a Bible, right? Is this from the same church or somewhere else?
Yes, this is from the church. This is the Bible because Kiev speaks Russian. This is a Russian Bible, and this is what's left of the Russian Bible and probably other Bibles. But my friend sent me just this one picture of a burnt Bible.
Yeah, and when I'm on a roll here, Wally, with my expert, where did that go? I was going to throw up that other from or pin about your headquarters. If I can find my. Oh no, let's go with this right now. I'm going to take those down. Wally, I'm going to show this is a catacomb worship. Now, is this a similar? Was this a church that you knew, or what was that?
Yeah, this is the pastor of the church that was bombed, and the burnt Bible in the church. This is the pastor.
Okay, well, we'll play it. I forgot how long this was. I think it might be a minute or less.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah,
we'll start it here.
In the shadows of his wing. In the shadows of his wing.
Okay.
Hiding in the shadows of his wing.
Защиты твоих крыл, ой, под защитою твоей, стрелы я не убоюсь, пока я под защитой твоих крыл. Под защитой, под защитой, под защитой твоих крыл, под защитой, под защитой, под защитой твоих крыл.
This song was talking about hiding in the shadows of his wings, in the shadows of his wings, or in the shadow of his wing. Russians today are bombing indiscriminately with tanks and missiles and people on the streets. They're running over people if they're walking. If the Russian tanks are on the street, then they run over the people. So this is a tragic situation. Death, destruction, and tragedy has covered all of Ukraine. Every city in Ukraine has been bombed.
It is sad, Wally, and sorry we got lost there for a minute, but we're back.
Excellent.
Sorry about that, folks.
Yep.
But Wally's there, and what I get some. Let's see what else we got some other interesting things here we wanted to discuss. You we didn't get that up, but your Irpin site was destroyed, right?
Yeah. Today they're 8 hours ahead of us, and so their Monday is finished. And on Monday, when the Russian forces were forced back as they were retreating, they were bombing all the houses on the streets, and they happened to be on the very street where our headquarters is, and they destroyed the buildings beside our office and our building. And so today Mission Eurasia does not have a headquarters. It was bombed, but our ministry is with the people, and it's not a building, but the building has been destroyed.
Now here's a short video, Walker. Is this on the back side maybe or somewhere?
It's between the two buildings.
Okay.
Between our office and then there's another building. So it's
okay. Well, this is a short video.
Два. Один, что это? Сколько их тут было? Вон. Танк прячут, видите где?
That's a tank, one tank.
Смотрите.
That's where one tank was destroyed.
Это была когда-то семинария. Это дом моих родственников.
Study was taking place.
Остатки танка. Или даже ни одного, не могу понять.
That's what's left of the two tanks that were involved in the destruction of the building. So as of today, the mayor of Irpin has said that they have been successfully pushed back, and the Russian forces are outside the limits of the city of Irpin, but the Irpin city is bombed from the air and with specific or laser jet precision bombs.
Now this is right after this destruction of the Irpin headquarters was just in the last day after they were withdrawing. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, yes. And the Baptist Theological Seminary, which is just a walking distance, a couple of minutes away, has been bombed too. And so the education center of the Theological Seminary has been bombed. And then there's another Bible college, which was for different denominations, was also bombed in Kiev.
Oh, in Kiev, but this is in Irpin too. But Kiev got some bombings too, right? You're saying?
Yeah. Well, when I say
they're real close together, right?
Pretty close. What I'm saying is that Irpin is one of the suburbs, the outer suburbs,
right,
outskirts of the city of Kiev, and Kiev that had 5 million people, and as of today, they have close to 2 million people left in the city. The rest decided to leave or left to the villages and towns outside of the war zone where the bombing is less.
So we have a situation there, and I had another, I didn't get to put it up here, but another friend of yours was saying that maybe Mission Eurasia is one of the major groups that's in the country. There's not too many major Christian groups right now. Is that correct somewhat?
Correct. Inside the country, Mission Eurasia worked within the country, and then with 400 churches within the country, different churches.
400, huh?
Yeah, 400 churches within the country, and we did ministry and distribution and training in those centers. But we had to back off now to other areas of Ukraine where there's less fighting and warehouses. And we're still doing some printing within the country, and we're printing 100,000 Ukrainian New Testaments with Psalms and Proverbs. And we just pray that somehow they will not find this printing center or the print press and not bomb the print press, because we're in the stages of where the people need not only food and provisions and diapers for children and accommodations and rest, but they also need something to comfort them. And some of the Psalms are very comforting for people to read. In 1914, when the Crimea and Donbass was taken, I went to that area many times, 4, 5 times. And when I was with the soldiers, I would ask the soldiers, I said, what is your greatest need? The soldier looked at me, and he smiled, and he said, teach me to pray. I said, why? He said, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. He said,
Right.
I might die. So that was a request of the soldier. And there are many soldiers today who are learning to pray the Psalms and praying to God, not only for deliverance, but for strength, that God will become their fortress, their rock, their salvation in the time of distress.
Yeah, and that printing press, I think I know about it. I don't want to say where it's at right now, because I think I know. I was told about it before.
Okay.
Maybe we shouldn't mention where it's at,
Yeah.
or I mean, even close where it's at. But it's a miracle in itself, this printing area, I guess. My understanding from our friend in Alberta, is that what? No, that's Bill or Bob. What's it?
Bill Kapitaniuk, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that mentioned about.
Yeah, he was the founder. He was the founder of that press. That's right.
Yeah, so I've heard about that. So there's certain areas that have been escaped somewhat from our problems here with the war. I had a friend on who was talking about the west, southwest, I guess, near Moldova.
Right.
And that was a mountainous area somewhat, and they had the Roma people.
That's right.
And I don't know if I got that picture right now, but I had a picture of a pastor, Hungarian pastor, that was taking in refugees in Hungary.
Yes.
And
Western Ukraine has a lot of gypsies, or the Roma people, as the Romanians would call them. And in Moldova, they call them the Roma people. And so we call them the Roma people, but they're actually gypsies. And so many gypsies are coming to knowledge and understanding that there is one Savior, and that is Jesus Christ, rather than witchcraft and everything else that they were involved in.
Yeah, my friend, that was with Frontier Fellowship, and Dan McNerney was talking about that, and I've seen it on the news too, that area somewhat is more peaceful right now.
Correct.
And maybe because it's so isolated mountains, maybe there's not much that the Russians see in that right now, I think, probably, right?
Yeah, that area was once under the Hungarian Empire and the Polish Empire, so they've changed hands. And so those people, they speak Ukrainian, very culturally adapted to the Ukrainian culture, while
Right.
Kiev and eastern part of Ukraine is more Russified. So
yeah,
what Putin is trying to do is truly this is a racial problem because he wants to Russify. He doesn't like the Ukrainian language. He doesn't like their flag. He doesn't like their culture. He doesn't like the fact that the very first Russian Empire existed in Kiev. And so he wants to change the history and Russify them and give them the Russian language, give them the Russian flag, give them the Russian culture. And that's not right.
Right. And there's talk. I don't know if personally, I hope it doesn't really go this way, but that to divide, that Russia might be into an idea, maybe it's just for a truce time like North and South Korea, but to split East and West Ukraine up and
right. There's so many theories of what's
I don't know where it's going. Tomorrow we'll find, the next few days we'll find out really where the Russians are thinking here, because they're not doing well, as we would say.
No, they're not doing too well because of the logistics and because it's springtime and the ground is muddy. And so the tanks can only stay on the roads. If they go off the roads, they sink. But some ideas split Ukraine into 3 different countries.
Oh, 3 even, huh?
Yeah. Well, the Donbass area, and then
Right.
the Kiev to be the new Russia, the Kiev to be the new free Russia, Kiev
Okay.
as the capital, and then the western part to be Ukraine. So it's
Oh, they still want you. You think they still want Kiev? I don't know. Some say they're going to give up Kiev, but I don't know. But we'll see.
well,
But they are losing Kiev, so
well, I hope so. Personally, I hope that the integrity of the Ukrainian people is there, and they have the courage, but they lack the lethal weapons. And they talk to us, and they say, "You have the lethal weapons, but you don't have the courage." And
yeah.
so that's the message they're giving NATO. That's the message they're giving America. You have the lethal weapons. You can help us, but you don't have the courage. We have the courage to stand up for freedom. We have the courage to defend not only the freedom, but to defend all of Europe. But we don't have the lethal weapons, and we won't.
Right. Yeah, they want, and maybe there's some more coming. I don't know. I didn't listen to the president's speech today. There's some talk of some type of planes they might get. I think jamming planes that jam communications or something.
Yeah.
I didn't catch all that, but they've been asking for these MiGs for a while too.
Right.
And I mean, it's not the U.S. technically being in there. It's just sort of a pass on and giving them that opportunity. And why MiGs? Because they can use them right away without any real training.
Yeah. It's like going into the ring and one has boxing gloves and the other one doesn't. And the one who doesn't have boxing gloves says, "Please, can I have some boxing gloves? Can I have a referee?" And it's like 2 countries have come in and they're fighting. There's no referee and there's no boxing gloves. There's no rules. There's no referee. There's nobody, and everyone's afraid. It seems to me that Putin is controlling NATO. He's controlling China. He's controlling India. He's controlling the president of America, Joe Biden. He's controlling America. It seems that there's one man that seems to control the whole world.
Well, that's an interesting point. I don't know, but well, you maybe you hit it on the head there. I don't know, but he does have some sway that he really shouldn't have, and I don't understand his.
Just recently today, he said now it's not the dollar that's the International Monetary Fund, it's the ruble. And so now you pay me in rubles for oil. And now Europe doesn't know what to do. All of a sudden the banks are in dollars, and he said, "No, I don't want you to pay me in dollars. I want you to pay me in rubles."
Well, he's coy. I got to say that, and he's hints stuff. And here's I want to. This is just on the geopolitical side, but does this mean that anybody with nukes can go around just doing about anything they want? Nobody's going to stop them because we got nukes.
He believes no one's going to stop him.
Right.
He's going to use nukes because we have to. Our world has not seen a nuclear, well, in a small capacity, a nuclear warfare. and
Right.
that's why everyone's kind of afraid, that
Right.
he will use nukes. He's got nothing else now because he's a war criminal, and he's going to continue. And if he's pressed into a corner, even if you press a sparrow into a corner, he begins to fight back. And so he'll use everything he can. And Russia will use nukes as either they'll take Chernobyl and blow it up, or Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and Ukraine has 6 nuclear power plants. He could easily hit one of those and said, "Oh, I didn't do it. The Ukrainians did it."
Oh yeah, no, he'll do something like that, or about the chemical stuff too.
Yeah.
And he'll say that they did it, and but he really did it, and will do it. And he's
What, John? What is surprising is I'm in touch with friends in Russia and Ukraine,
okay.
and so the Russians are saying, "Oh, where there is peacekeepers," and the
Oh
Ukrainians
yeah, that's their line, right?
bombing themselves. And I was listening to him, and I said, "Did you just wake? What's wrong with you?" I said, "Ukrainians don't have missiles. They don't have planes." And you were saying that Ukrainians are using planes and bombing
Well, they
themselves.
do have some planes.
Yeah, but they don't have the missiles on the planes. Otherwise, they'd have taken
Oh, I
out.
don't know about that. That might be true about missiles on planes. I don't know what they have. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, in the Black Sea, they could have wiped out those boats if they had planes. All they needed was a couple planes, and all those 3 boats that they had. They only got one because they fired land
Oh,
missiles.
right, okay.
Yeah, if they had a plane, just one plane, they could have taken out all of those 3 ships, but they couldn't. They only took one out.
Well,
Okay.
they don't have too many planes. Let's just say that. I don't know what the number is, but maybe they've shown all the pilots on CNN. I've seen about 3, maybe. I don't know.
And the Russians believe that this war is a just war. 70% of the Russian people support him, and only a small percentage. And they're saying that this war, they deserve it. They need to be judged. We need to Russify them. We need to stop them bombing themselves, because actually they're saying that the Ukrainians are bombing the Russian people in Ukraine, and Russian soldiers are coming in as peacekeepers.
Oh yeah, right.
And what a lot of baloney. And that's how propaganda works so strong. So we might have some false information, but the information they have is totally warped.
No,
Totally.
they're. I don't know what type of how. I hope we're not that way, but we could be, like you just said. But I know they are definitely in the rest of the world, like China and India. What are they doing?
Exactly.
And I'm going to give you a little more geopolitical here, Wally. It sounds like you're really into this too, like me. But I don't think Biden made a mistake there at the end of his speech. But everybody, then he had to backtrack. But really, most generals I've heard on commentary and everything, if they really want this war to stop, it is that Putin would have to be removed.
Yeah, they have to poison him. They have to
Well, I
give.
don't know. I don't want to say that, but he has to be out of there. That's all I got to say.
That's what the Russians do. They say, "Oh, we gave him some North Korean food."
Oh, okay.
That,
Okay.
if you ever hear a Russian, he said, "Oh, he ate some North Korean food," so that means they poison him with mushrooms from the something, or it's just poison, and they love.
There is a report that one of the oligarchs that was going to do some negotiation maybe got poisoned.
Yeah,
He's all right, but he maybe got poisoned. I read.
Yeah, Abramovich, and he was born in Ukraine. That's why they don't like him.
Oh,
Yeah. So
even though he's trying to pull it together for.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But he's a Russian citizen, and but he was born in Ukraine, and so there's something against him.
Wow. But I do agree that I don't see how this is going to come. Let's just say there's a stalemate or whatever, there's some peace, but they're still, they got to give up territory. What are we going to do about Russia down there? Right? It's just sad. I just don't see us. I don't see the West. I don't think they should just say everything is all right and say, Putin, you're all right, move back to normal.
Yeah. I think if Russia stops fighting, there will be peace. if Ukraine stops fighting, there will be no Ukraine.
Yeah, that's true. That way,
Yeah,
that's a good point. I
yeah,
agree. I agree. Russia's got to be the one who says uncle first, right, or whatever.
exactly. And for Ukraine to exist, they must resist. For them to exist, they must resist. And if we want peace, then peace only comes when Russia stops fighting. And Russia will only stop fighting when we have Russian people within the country to stop him and overthrow him. And it is in the power, it is in the hands of the Russian people to do justice to the world. And because there's no free elections in Russia, he's in there for life.
Yeah, I think the other time we were on, I got into that. God of Heaven's armies, do something here with Putin.
Oh yeah,
What do we call that, brother in purgatory prayer or something?
yeah.
David did that a few times,
Oh yeah, yeah. David,
but
Psalm 94. If you ever want to read it, read Psalm 94, and you'll hear how David pleads with God to bring justice and righteousness. How the unjust is murdering mothers and children and orphans and the fatherless. And so today, John, today the fatherless, the orphans, and the sad thing is, just yesterday I was reading about human trafficking. You know, this is the golden opportunity for people in Spain and Italy and Rome and Portugal and Switzerland and Germany and France. They come to the borders and they hold the sign up for a mother with maybe a young daughter or a young son, and they say, we'll take you to Portugal, we'll take you to Spain, we'll take you to Switzerland, we'll take you to France, we'll take you to Germany, a free ride. And that's how they take these. And there's one special lady, a Ukrainian lady, who was she saved her own life, and she's now got a mission there in Poland and the other parts of the world for the police to look out of all these people who are not legitimate, and
right,
human trafficking of women, because they're coming across, they're desperate young girls, ladies, and children is a horrible thing today. So war is a horrible thing, John. So horrible that it just turns me. I feel revolted because of this war that Russia has caused
right,
unjustly. It is causing children to suffer. Is causing teenagers to suffer. Is
right.
causing mothers to suffer. And human trafficking is as high as it could ever be. Do you know, Turkish people, Turkish men love Ukrainian women. And so the human trafficking to Turkey is huge. Human trafficking to all of Europe is absolutely huge. And John, this is unacceptable. This is just unacceptable. And I don't have the answer, but I do know that there are people there with the police force checking people out, who's giving a free ride where, and instead of abusing the people, we need to help them. And so the abuse, this war has caused abuse, unimaginable abuse, unprecedented abuse that we have not known before.
Well, there's many things that actually the deaths on this war, they're just going to be, I think they're totally undercounted probably right now. Totally. I mean, we say 15,000 maybe Russian soldiers. I assume there's going to be a fair amount of Ukrainian soldiers, plus
Yes.
the civilians and children.
Yes.
And so it's just going to be where, I don't know if it was you that suggested this. No, it wasn't you, but I saw a suggestion. Oh, it was, who put this? I don't know, but it was a suggestion that Ukraine had to go on the offense and go into Russia, but I don't know about that one. But
They don't have the equipment. They have
no, but I think that was just a counter.
Yeah. It is a good idea, but they don't have the tanks. What they're doing is all the tanks that they have taken, those have been destroyed. They're putting them together and they're trying to collect them and repurpose the tanks.
Okay.
one tank is, he's got some parts, and so they've got a whole team of people putting these tanks together and then repainting them and using them. And they're saying the greatest supplier of tanks to Ukraine is Russia.
Now, I wonder if Ukrainian tanks are similar in ways. Were they from Russia too? You got any ideas in that?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Ukrainian tanks are all Russian tanks.
So they could maybe easily do that.
Exactly. And the planes that they have in Ukraine are all Russian planes.
Right. That's why they want those MiGs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that still maybe can happen, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
Wally, we're gonna got any other thoughts here? I hope we've covered quite a few bases here, but we got to keep the prayer up.
Yes.
The vigilance.
And John, humanitarian aid. Humanitarian aid, if they cut off aid from Poland, from Moldova, from Romania, from Slovakia, then as the Germans did to the Russians, they want to starve them. And so they could starve these people. But the Ukrainians know that spring is here. Back gardens are coming into shape. They've got this little seedlings ready. And so if this was during the war, if this took place in October, then it'd be devastating. But this is taking place in the spring when most of the wars globally begin in the spring. The gardens will be there, the fruits and vegetables will be there, and so people will be able to hang on. But it's the winters that will be devastating because there are no windows and there's no heat and so forth.
Right.
So somehow, praise the Lord that this war began in the spring rather than October. If this was October, you'd have a lot of frozen and dead people.
Yeah, and I saw some pictures of farmers in Ukraine. I'd be more central Ukraine, I believe. You know more about that than I do, but they were starting their probably wheat and other grains, right?
Exactly, sunflowers, grains. Yeah, that's the breadbasket of Europe, basically. And what is interesting is that, do you know that Chinese have rented millions and millions of acres in Ukraine for their own food supply?
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I asked when I was there going through the fields, and all of a sudden I said, well, who owns this land? Well, I said the Chinese are renting it and they're paying our farmers to work. And so we are providing and we're planting seeds and the food for the country of China.
Well, that's interesting too. China. Well, that's maybe explains why it hasn't been too. Maybe Russia doesn't want to get on China. That's probably why that area is probably untouched more, right?
Yeah, but John, if you have an opportunity to tell people to give towards humanitarian aid, but go with organizations that have been with the country. Go with reliable organizations.
Right. Well, we got one at the bottom here, Mission Eurasia and Ukraine, and another one I'm going to be talking with is World Vision. And there's several, and
Yep.
CNN is on their site. I think they're pretty good places that they've been putting up.
Yep.
But we got to make sure that they are reliable. And
exactly, because there's so much fraud. When war comes, it reveals the sinfulness of man. It reveals the sinfulness of man's heart, and that's the tragedy. Whether it's human trafficking, whether it's just taking your money and running with it. But John, I want to say thank you for making this public. Thank you for praying for Ukraine. Thank you for making this as an upfront event, and to let you know that Russians are indiscriminately killing people on the streets where our office was. Right on the street, there's dead people there. And our office had nothing to do against those people, or the Bible seminary had nothing to do anything to do with military people. It was bombed and destroyed. And so today, the evil one is fashioned.
yeah, the evil one is out there. That's another thing I think we in the West here, especially in America, we have not seen the two world wars here, and we're not really seeing this. I think the last week or two again, I think people have lost interest in Ukraine again. It's not, they don't realize the broad scope of this. And I think our European allies are going to, the president and Congress better still stay on the ball on this, and our churches too. I think our churches can't let down on this, and I'm most worried about that because I think we get lulled too easily here.
And John, you have on the screen there, pray for Ukraine. It's a wonderful prayer. It's a prayer that's done by a Ukrainian lady praying for Ukraine. And I want to say thank you, John, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you for hosting, and thank you for bringing Ukraine to the forefront of the American people. When America prays, Satan trembles. When America
Well, I'll just say, Wally, if any Christian prays, that's not, I don't want to make us a little more. I mean, if Ukrainians pray, Russian Christians pray for peace, Chinese Christians all over the world and Africa, I mean, we got to pray here. And of course, there's other conflicts around the world. This is a sad story. We lose track of, like Yemen and others. Syria was another one.
Syria, that's where Russians were bomb shelling them. And I read how the Syrians are giving Ukrainians suggestions on how to go as far underground as you possibly can, because the Russians are coming in with bombs and they're leveling like Aleppo and all those other cities in Syria. The Russians.
Right. Now I got on our right side here on your screen. It's prayercast.com/Ukraine, and it's a nice little video. I don't know if we'll do that now, but you can do that at your leisure. But it's prayer. I looked at it, it's real nice. And prayercast.com/Ukraine.
Yes. Thank you, John. God bless you, and may you have a wonderful day.
Yes. Thank you, Wally, for being with us on Wednesday. I got my days. I was going to say Friday. No, that's wrong. That's not right. What did I do here? Wally, you got me all mixed up. Good. No, it's not Wally's fault. I got my brother from, where did it go? Oh, well, anyway, on Wednesday, we're going to talk about one day, Aquinas one day. And that was all wrong there. I don't know what I got about my pancakes, but I love pancakes, but that's not today. But it's not today. That's on Wednesday. And then Friday, we're going to talk again about Ukraine with World Relief, Nathan White. So there's 100,000, and I know Wally's interested in that too, to get more. Not everybody over there in Poland wants to really come to the United States. I'm sure they probably want to stay and maybe hopefully go back. Wouldn't you think that way, Wally, somewhat?
Oh, yes.
But if they have relatives or like that, they might want to come to the U.S.
Yes. But otherwise, their husbands and the grandfathers are back in Ukraine.
Yeah. So that's so we're going to talk about we're going to talk about one day. That's a cleanup downtown in Aurora on Wednesday with Pat Devine, and then on Friday we got Nathan White. So I thank Wally for coming by, and again, keep praying for Ukraine, and you can write our president, your congressman, to tell them to keep the humanitarian support, help your church and others to do that. Yes. Get involved when these refugees are coming back our way. Give other monies to humanitarian groups like Mission Eurasia is doing reach out in Ukraine, and other groups like World Relief. But let's keep Ukraine in our spotlight, folks. Yes. And again, I thank Wally for joining me today. And so we'll just say right now, God bless, and bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.